when you've been it, your brain just goes deeper. Let's get into some illusionary characters here. Johnny and Johnny Jr. Let's say Johnny used to play in Little League when he was a kid, and as he got older, he followed the family business and he got into some kind of office. He sells insurance now. Let's just say Johnny Sr. sells office, or he works at an office selling insurance. The illusion of safety, not even something that's real. It's just a piece of paper you sign. It says, we'll come with some money to help you, which is another invisible value. They're going to help you with money, and you're going to buy insurance. You're going to use something invisible to buy something invisible. You're going to insure yourself. No, you're not. You're going to die someday. So get over it. Stop worrying about insurance. Anyway, so Johnny Sr. sells insurance, and he used to be a great baseball player. Johnny Jr. has it in his blood. He wants to be like Dad, so he starts playing baseball. But it gets to the point where Johnny Sr. works so much he can't even make it to a game. And yes, okay, once in a while, I understand you got to miss some games so the kid can learn that you can't make every game, and so the father can learn that he wants to see his son but can't make it sometimes for work, so we can get through those experiences. I mean, we don't have to have that, but that's an experience that each of us wants to have too, whether we understand it or not. We want the good side, we want the bad side. But when a guy is overran by his job, whether it's working construction, working at a restaurant, working for someone else to do somebody else's bidding so that they make money, the invisible value, and you neglect your family members, okay, your own family members, okay, your job is taking away from your life. You're missing out on the life of your family, and people would say that's something you need to do. No, it's not. Do you need to sell insurance? No. Do you need to work somewhere to make money? Literally, think deeply about this. No. You could play baseball, eat, play baseball, eat, sleep. You could skip eating a couple days, play baseball. Go around nature, maybe see trees. Of course, it would expand more than baseball, but I'm just saying with Johnny and Johnny Jr., But you could do anything. Instead, we don't really have as much time as we used to because everything's spread out. Yes, some of us, put up situations for ourselves like kids and other stuff like that. Well, if we want to get them together and organize them and have them so that we can make it easier financially or easier without even having to worry about finances, the government system doesn't let us. The system that's in place around that government system is following that one. And the people who follow their city or local officials, and then those who follow federal officials, and those who follow invisible guidelines that they agree with out of invisible spiritual or Bible texts. That's what everything's constructed off of. It's all constructed off of other people's ideas. And now it's time for us to really be like, what would be right and what would be wrong? What would I do if I was the great creator? Because you are. Even from your point of view, from my point of view, from everyone's point of view, there is no time. This is your learning experience, and you're from one of the vantage points. You're from one of the vital imagery identities. Right now, you're playing a part. Someday, you already seem to have been Abraham Lincoln. You just don't remember it. You remember some of the stories. And if you think deep enough, you'll know which ones are true and which ones aren't. If you really think deep enough, you'll remember everything that was true. But you'll disagree with yourself based on what you've listened to from other people. I would say distance yourself from every technology that you can for a while. Listen to music if you want to, but that still messes with your mind a little bit just by giving messages of, oh, baby, I love you, you make me complete, because they don't. It's just an idea you grew up with watching fairy tales, and kids who didn't don't have that idea of love. But they also do have an idea of love completing them or having to die without the other. That's usually something that if people didn't grow up with fairy tales, and even people that have grown up with fairy tales can do this too, but a lot of people who haven't cling to people so much that they commit suicide when they get broken up with. And that's one of those things that they didn't ease their way into fairy tale love. I've seen it because I've been it. But there's many different depictions, many different versions of it, of course. Sometimes it is because of those fairy tales, and it didn't happen that way that the people killed themselves. But sometimes it's just because people are so lost. Most of the suicides, I would say almost all of the suicides, were either because they were so lost or they didn't want to live this life anymore. But they didn't know that when they said, I don't want to live this life anymore, that they were going to live another one. And they were going to see the people who made them feel that miserable to kill themselves. And then they'll see why. But then at the same time, they won't even know that they were the person that's killing themselves. That's how deep it goes. That's really how deep it goes. So, I mean, I figured I would just say some stuff because, Johnny Jr. doesn't need to have his dad miss everything. He doesn't need all that stuff. But the system in place makes that so. I'm in a place where I want to be with my kids every day, but I can't. I can't just go up and show there because their moms would get mad. I don't think my one's mom would get mad, but she also lives with her dad, and I don't think they want me there because I have this truck. I'm not going to go buy a vehicle. My kids don't want to come. That's the weird thing. My older kids don't want to come. A couple do, but a couple of them are older and they're doing their own thing, and I get that too, but they've grown up a certain way, and I get that. I totally understand why things are the way they are now, but at the same effect, I'm not going to just give up on trying to talk to my kids, even though they don't want to communicate with me, due to having their mom be a person who was sort of neglectful and not really pay much attention to them, and have a stepdad who didn't care about them much, and thought that he could reform them into what the Bible told him to say, because he is so unreligious, and he used to say, because God said so. It's just silly. If you understood what God was, you wouldn't use it like that. When I say that I talk to God, I mean it. But I don't use it against anybody. That's using God's name in vain. It is in my veins, but I won't push it on anybody because it's in them too. Until they realize it and claim it, it's eluding them, but it's their choice. So, till next time, that's all for now. Later, Johnny and Johnny Jr. Go catch a baseball game, okay? Jeez, quit working for the man and go do it.